Hey, what is up? What is up, everybody? This is Cam Jennings, aka Zero Fats, coming at you on behalf of the Zero Fats Return Show at EpicConversions.com. Hope everybody's doing amazing out there on this fine afternoon. I don't know how cold it is where you're at, Joe. Probably not very cold because I know it's warm in Florida right now, but it's freezing up here, dude. It is freezing. When I left the house today, it was 1 degrees.
Oh, no kidding. Well, you got me beat, man.
Right.
We're at 50 degrees, actually. So.
Oh, man. Anyways, guys, listen, I got a very special guest on the show today. I got Joe Dube with me. He's the creator of the fan page Codex. He's got a really interesting story to tell you about fan pages and his experiences and stuff like that. I thought they were awesome experiences. I actually was lucky enough to be a part of this fan page Codex project. Joe actually interviewed me as one of his special guests inside the project. And I had a lot of fun being a part of it, man. So thanks for allowing me to be a part of the project. And also, thanks for being on my YouTube channel to talk about it a little bit. I appreciate you being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, buddy. I really appreciate it.
So, Joe, you know, for those of you who don't know you, I know you're just getting started. This is like your first product, but I know it's not your first go around when it comes to trying to make money on the internet and trying to build a business for yourself. Can you take us back to the beginning when you're just working at a normal job and then you decided you wanted to start your own business and get started with this make money online kind of stuff? Can you talk about that a little bit for us?
Sure. Well, my expertise was wholesaling real estate, which is I would talk to sellers that wanted to sell, the motivated sellers. I'd make a deal with them, put it under contract, the house under contract, and then I'd go ahead and sell the contract to a rehabber, you know. So and I learned how to do that. I taught myself how to do that after much trial and error, but I was able to do it over the phone, which was tough, but I got real good at it because I kept working at it, you know. But in 2007, 2008, the market tanked and I had no cash buy. So my, you know, I was doing about 4 or 5 contracts a month at about 12.5. So doing 50, 60 grand a month, you know, which was great. Awesome, but all of a sudden 50, 60 grand a month, and then all of a sudden zero, you know. So, you know, so what I do, I reinvented myself and stuff, and I coached for a while, and then I ended up getting a, you know, regular job and stuff. I'm back in real estate now. I manage a sales team, but back in 2015, I had a crazy thing happen to me in the summertime. I ended up like late July. I was watching TV one night, and all of a sudden the TV was getting blurry in my left eye. I'm going, what the heck's going on? So I shut it down, went to bed, got up. It was worse the next day. And long story short, I ended up losing the vision in my left eye. This one here.
Holy crap!
Right now, I can see what's doing. Yeah. So I got to thinking, I'm like, man, I need to be able to rely on myself because I'm 55 years old. I'm like, what happens if something happens to my other eye? I need to have a business that I can create and work at, and maybe even have be able to teach one of my kids or something. So I had some income if I lost vision in my other eye. That's what started, and that fall I brought a physical product to market to Amazon, and sales were going brisk, and then all of a sudden I got the cease and desist email from Amazon because they were somebody said, "Hey, you're infringing on my patent," you know. So
cease and desist.
Yeah, I mean, so I couldn't, you know, all my hard work and efforts were, you know, obliterated because I couldn't They were right. I was infringing on their patent. I did a search, but I mean, you need to spend thousands of dollars to get a good search from a patent attorney,
Sure.
and I just didn't have the money, so I stopped that, and I kept looking around, and then finally, I started working on stuff online, and then I ended up. Well, after that, I started, thinking, well, gosh, online marketing would be good, but I can't do Amazon because it's just I don't have the money to do patent searches, and what happens when they change their policies and junk like that. So
Right.
decided to start creating my own products, and that's what happened is I was looking around, and I found a hack on how to put likes on a fan page.
Okay.
So I said, oh, that's cool. I know that's important. So I created a fan page, and called the Motivated Mindset, and then I ended up getting a uh, what I did was I ended up putting like 6,000 likes on this fan page, but the problem was I didn't know how to monetize it,
Right.
and that was the birth of the fan page Codex,
Right.
So what I did was, since I didn't know, I figured others like you and John Marquez and a few others, would help me. Just if I did an interview, they'd tell me. So that's what I did, and it worked out pretty well.
Absolutely.
So that was the birth of my first product.
Let me make sure I understand what's happening here, Joe. Because that was a long journey, and you summed it up really well. But that was a long journey. Let me make sure I understand what's happening. So you were doing something that's making you really good money, and you just randomly started losing vision in your eye.
Yes.
And basically, this freaked you out, as it would anybody. I would hate it if I lost vision in my eye. I mean, just randomly. He didn't even have a reason why. Your optic nerve just went dead.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's amazing. They put me in the hospital. Well, I woke up that next morning and it was worse. And then so I went right away to the ophthalmologist because he was afraid of me losing complete vision. He told me later, that's what he got me in right away, and he checked the optic nerve was fine, and he just couldn't believe what was happening. He says, if something else happens, if it gets worse, then let me know. And he says, and we'll put you in the hospital, do a bunch of tests. So Sunday morning I woke up, I couldn't see anything.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, and so
were you mad? Were you mad when that happened? Were you like, oh my, this is ridiculous?
Yeah, I've been through a lot in my life, and I just I just was thanking God. Honestly, I was just thanking God for the good vision in my right eye, and and just asked for the vision to come back, and it
Absolutely.
hasn't. So I didn't really get angry or mad. I was just, okay, what's next? What do I have to do next? Because if I did that, I'd be having a pity party and sucking my thumb, and I'm not about that crap. Let's move on. Let's live life, right? And that's how I approached it.
I agree with you on that, dude. Nothing against people who have bad things that happen to them, because I think we all have bad things happen to us. But if it's one thing I know in this world, it's that victims do not win. Victims just don't win. I mean, and that's just that might sound callous to some people. That might sound harsh, but I find it to be the truth. I mean, you're gonna have to find a way to rise up above your problems and your trials and tribulations if you want to win. That's just the way I see it.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing: everybody has a story. Everybody has things happen to them. I do. You do. Everybody that's watching this does. Here's the thing: well, how do you deal with it? Are you gonna, like I said, you're gonna be a thumb sucker, a big baby, and cry about it and be a victim? Or you're gonna go ahead and do something about it, you know?
Right.
And that's, you know, what I mean. I've by no means made it. You know, even I was making good money as a real estate wholesaler. I thought I had made it. I thought I was gonna be, you know, fine, and I'd have plenty of money for me and my family for the rest of my life, you know, for retirement, stuff like that. It turned out not to be, you know. So other things happened, and then, you know, I got thrown a couple of curveballs with that, you know, with my vision and stuff. But hey, I'm still alive and kicking. I can still provide value to people. I can still, you know, help other people. Like, I mean, that's my goal. Is, you know, I know it is hard. It's the online business is hard, but if you don't mind working, you know, and learning, and just keep pushing, plugging away, then you learn and you get better at it. You know, that's all.
And then
you know,
you
and that's what I'm all about. You know.
yeah, absolutely. And then you made some money with Amazon, which is awesome, man, because I made a lot of money on Amazon myself. So you were doing okay with Amazon, and then you got a cease and desist letter, and that pretty much like just put an abrasive stop to that. And I think that's interesting.
That was it, that was it. I ended up talking to the attorney for the people that own the patent, and it was a big boy, and he's like, you know, you can't do that, blah blah blah. You know, you got to stop. And this guy was funny. He said he closed the door to his office. I heard he was in New York. He was up in a big high-rise building in New York, and he says, "Well, hold on, let me close the door." So he closed the door to his office, and he says, "Listen, I'm not supposed to tell you this, but you know, you can get the inventory that you have on hand, get it from Amazon, and throw it up on eBay, and at least you can get your money back on that." So
Wow.
yeah, so he's like, "I didn't tell you this, you know." So so I thought that was pretty cool of him, but still, you know, here I am back at ground zero. You know, I got my money back, so I didn't really lose money, but you know, it was disheartening because, you know, here I am, my little phone's going off, ding, 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 every time I'm making sales for Amazon, and you know, you know, in my sleep, I'm like, man, I could get used to this, you know, and then I had, you know, put an abrupt stop to it. So
all of a sudden the music stops.
What's that?
No more. All of a sudden the music stops. No more bells.
Oh, yeah, no more ding, ding, ding. Yeah. So, you know, so I'm like, you know, really what I want to do, I want to find something that I can do from it, because I not only have no vision in my left eye, but I have some health issues. I have no cartilage in my knees or in my left hip, and so I can't get around real well. So I work from the house anyway with my full-time job, and so this really works out. I mean, it works out great, because after I'm done with my full-time job, I just transition right into my business and work on that. So, you know, that's how I do it.
I love it, man. I love it. Now this is funny because this is kind of the part where I meet you, and you start talking to me about Facebook fan pages, and this is kind of where I kind of started. This is the part where I kind of came in and started learning about what you were doing. And it was funny because you said, "Yeah, man, I put like 6,000 likes on a fan page." And I said, "Well, you know, that's basically like building an audience. Putting likes on a fan page is like building an audience." And you're like, "Yeah, well," and I said, "Well, how long did it take you to do it?" And you said 3 days. I was like, "What? 3 days? What are you talking about?" Like, "Yeah, it took me 3 days." And I was like, "That's awesome, dude. Great work." You know? And you said, "Yeah, but the only problem is I have no idea how to monetize it. I don't know what to do with them. You know, I just don't know what I'm doing." So that's when, you know, you decided you were going to start talking to experts and figure out what they would do to monetize your fan page. I thought that was a fantastic idea, man. And like I said, I was really proud to be a part of your project. For the people out there who are interested in Facebook, marketing and marketing on Facebook and figuring out how to do things on Facebook, can you talk a little bit about the Fan Page Codex and what they can expect?
Sure. Well, the Fan Page Codex, I give a detailed report on how I went about, first creating a fan page, right? And then after that, that's one of the modules. And then another module is, how I did my likes campaign, because I figured, people would want to learn how I did that too and try it themselves. And
Sure.
It's pretty good. I just show, in the report how, with different graphics and stuff like that, how I went and did that. And it's just like a recipe camp.
Yeah.
Day one, do this. Day two, do this. Day three, do this,
Yeah, it was very actionable, man. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Well, and that's kind of how I do things. I've been in business all my life, and I ended up realizing a while ago that really business is just a set of procedures and systems you put, or a recipe that you would put certain things together and you get X on. The X is, how to make money. You want to, in business, you gotta, in life, you have to have money in order to survive. So that's why you're in business. So but a system, sure. You put a set of systems or procedures together, and that's a business, and that's how you make money. So,
right. Good point.
Anyhow, so I have those two things down, and then in the report, and because I didn't know how to go ahead and monetize the fan page, I interviewed you, a couple other people, John Marquez, Ron Marino. Both those guys have Facebook ad agencies, so they were real good. And plus, just your interview alone was awesome. And then I've got Marcus Roediger and gosh, I can't think of the lady's name. I'm so sorry, Andrew.
No, it's all right, man. I'll tell you something though. While you're thinking about that, I wanted to say something about this. I thought it was really cool, man, and it's something I tell a lot of people. Because I can't tell you how many people I meet who are like halfway there, just like you were halfway there. Like you get so far, and then it's like you don't know how to close it, you don't know how to finish it. So a lot of people give up. And what I think about what's cool about you is you didn't give up. You outsourced the experience. You went out and figured out how to finish the project and how to get it to money. And it's just cool, man, because the Codex is kind of like a case study. It's like you sharing your experience, and it's almost like learning out loud. It's like you take people on a journey with you to finish the project. So I think it's really cool, man, and I think you did a good job on it.
Yeah, and the thing is I know that there's got to be a lot of people like me, Cam, that man, you're so frustrated. I know, listen, I lost every bit of my retirement income when the real estate bubble burst. Every bit of it. I was thankful to have the lights on and food on the table and make sure the kids could get back and forth to school, and my wife and I could get back and forth to work. Now, since then, we've built things up, but man, the reason why is because I've been working my butt off, and this was really when I retire, I want to have a business that I can have to have cash flow so that I'm not eating rice and beans or hot dogs and beans, when I'm 65. So, which is only 10 years away, buddy.
Yeah.
So that's what's up. That's what, I'm just trying to, and if I can help, I used to coach real estate, and
sure.
it was amazing to me. People would spend $5,000, $10,000 on coaching and never do a thing. They had access to me. They had, through the phone and email. And out of probably, I don't know how many hundreds of people that had access to me, I think I had one guy actually take action and do what I told him to do. And he was successful. He did a wholesale deal, and I remember he made 22 grand. Of course, I got a little bit of it, but
nice.
Nice stuff. So
that's a good point, dude. And I think it's a good message to anyone out there watching this interview. And it's kind of cliche. So when people say it, it kind of just goes over their heads. They don't even think about it. But honestly, taking action, like actually executing strategy is really important. You can't get anywhere if you don't keep your projects moving forward. So you have to execute strategy. It's not enough to learn how to do something. You have to execute. You have to execute. And I think it's a really good point, man. Which kind of brings me to my next question. What advice would you give anyone trying to get started with, Facebook advertising or Facebook fan pages or Facebook marketing in general? Like, what advice would you give the brand new person who you might be a couple steps ahead of?
Yeah, well, I'd say, hey, pick up the fan page Codex, because honestly, I created it, had a lot of help with it, but
come on, Joe, not everybody here can afford your course. Come on, give something for the guy who's broke. Now, come on now.
Yeah, well, what I would do is, if I would go ahead and start creating audiences, with Facebook. You can get for free. You can learn how to do Facebook advertising for free, and Facebook puts it out there. It's almost like a Facebook University. It's a Facebook Blueprint.
Yes,
right.
I'm familiar. That's a great place, man.
Yeah, and it's almost like college. It's almost like college courses, and it's always updated because Facebook is always changing their policies and junk. So, you can pay to do the exams and stuff like that, but you don't have to. You can just go through the course for free and have all that knowledge for yourself. So I would definitely recommend that, or build an audience and then find a good someone to teach you, or go ahead and get a good Facebook advertising agency or something to help you to get some campaigns going. And once you find the campaign that works, scale it, baby.
Nice, man. I like it. That's a good point, dude. And I think when you talked about building an audience on Facebook, I know I saw Philip Lopez on the call here a little bit ago. I'm not sure if he's still here, but he can testify to that as well. He's spent a good time building audience on Facebook, and I've spent a good time building audience on Facebook, and now you spent time building audience on Facebook. Facebook is just such a big platform. Everybody's there. So no matter what niche you're in, your audience is on Facebook. You can find them. And what I found is a really good place to find them is in Facebook groups and kind of pull them out. But it doesn't really matter how you do it. The audience is there if you can pull them around you. And I thought that was a good point, man. Thanks for giving that up. What was your biggest takeaway from Facebook fan page Codex? Because I know, like, you got halfway on your journey and then you did some learning out loud and you went and talked to a bunch of people who knew more about it than you did. So can you give the audience here, like, maybe a takeaway or two that you got from doing all those interviews and stuff?
Sure. One thing I learned is how you would warm up an audience, right? With questions, like pointed questions. Like, here's the thing: we're in online sales. I've been a salesman probably most of my life. He who asks the most questions wins the conversation, and controls the conversation.
Nice.
So, that's what you do is I mean, you don't rifle them like a, salesy, spammy idiot, but like, just questions here and there, and then once you get someone engaging with you, then reply and like and stuff like that, and then that multiplies. Like you mentioned Philip. Philip's like a master at that stuff.
He is.
He's awesome. And then the other thing is
well, wait, hold on. Now you hold up here for a second, Joe Dube. You wait just a second. Now listen, man, if let's say I got a Facebook fan page on motivation and I'm trying to teach people how to be motivated and inspired. Like, can you give me an example of a question I would put on that kind of fan page that would create engagement or whatever? Like, can you give me kind of an example of what you mean?
Okay, so like to get engagement, gosh, I do put some quotes on there. I would
quotes? Nice.
Inspirational quotes, and then who's your favorite business mogul?
I like that. Who's your favorite business mogul? That's a good one, man.
Yeah, like some might put what's his name? Can't think of his name. The guy that owns the Mavericks.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban.
Yeah. Yeah. Some.
What do you think of this guy?
Yeah. I mean, you can do that. You put a picture of him and say, "Hey, what do you think about Cuban? What are your thoughts about this guy?" Heck, I mean, you want to get a lot of response. Ask him, "Hey, what do you think about this guy as a businessman?" And put Trump on there. I mean, you get a lot.
Yeah, no kidding.
You get a lot of.
I mean, especially if you start like looking at like trending topics in your space. Like if you look at trending topics in your space and you look at something that's kind of on fire, and then you just like ask on your fan page, like, "Hey, did you guys hear about this? What's your opinion on it? What's your take on it? Whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I could see where that would be powerful, man. That's a nice takeaway, dude. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, or who's your favorite online marketer?
Yeah.
Something like that would go a long way, because people will be honest with you, and then the next question in the reply is, well, why do you like him so much?
Nice.
And you get your engagement going, and then just take it from there. And then once you have them engaged, then you can ask them pointed questions. You can even put a poll up.
I love it.
On what are you can ask questions, something like, what if what are your the toughest obstacles that you are having in your online business?
Sure.
Yeah,
that's a funny
people
thing.
Will
go ahead. I'm sorry.
As people will respond.
Definitely.
I think I've got over 10,000 people on the fan page now.
That's great, dude. That's great.
Yeah.
You mentioned polls,
Yeah.
man. I know I use Facebook polls in my Facebook group, and that's pretty effective. So I can definitely imagine it would be effective on a fan page as well. So it definitely makes sense, man. All right, man. Look, I've bothered you long enough, Joe Dube. I appreciate you being on, man. Listen, thank you for taking the time to do this interview for me today. I know you just launched a product today. I know you're super busy, so I definitely appreciate your time. Listen, where can people find out more about you? If they want to pick up Fan Page Codex, where can they pick up that? Actually, guys, you know what? If you want to pick up Fan Page Codex, I'll put a link in the description of this video, so you'll be able to pick up the video easy enough. But Joe, that being said, where can people find out more about you, man?
Well, you can go to my website at themotivatediammarketer.com, and I've got a few posts there. Get a little more background about me, who I am, what I've done in my life, or just a couple of stories here or there, and so they can visit me there.
I love it, Joe. Thank you so much for being on the show, everybody. Thanks, Joe, for being on the show. That's a wrap. I appreciate you all being here. If you're interested in Facebook audience building, check out Joe's fan page, Codex. I'll put a link in the description. That is a wrap. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, everybody.
Hey.